You are the heart. You are the hands. You are the voice of spirit on earth. For who you are, for all you do, I truly mean you're a blessing to the world. You are the heart. You are the hands. You are the voice of spirit on earth. For who you are, for all you do, you're a blessing to the world. You are the hands. You are the voice of spirit on earth. For who you are, for all you do, you're a blessing, a blessing, a blessing to the Happy Sunday, and let's take a moment for prayer. Just close your eyes and take a deep breath. Know that you are here in this very moment. You are present. You are open at the top. You are ready to hear messages that will help you in your daily life. You're ready to hear from others in the community that help you along your way as well. You are here to support others. We are a community, and we are all brothers and sisters of that one, that beautiful spirit, that unconditional love. So in this knowing, we know that today is blessed as we come together, and all the people who have helped put this together so we can have this beautiful service on Sunday. We appreciate our ushers, Travis, our AV, of course, Karen, our music always, and our practitioners and our hospitality, and our guest speaker today, Reverend Lauren. We are very blessed to have her with us today, and she is probably one of the most colorful people you will see and hear, and so we will learn so much about being colorful. So for all this and so much more, we are so very blessed and so very grateful and thankful as we say together. And so it is. All right, our theme is colorful to the core. So our words of inspiration today, the first one is from that great author Unknown. Don't ever be afraid to show off your true colors. And from Reverend Jane Beach, I was created from the greatest love of all. I have everything I need to give from the goodness and grace that's inherent in me. What I give comes back to me multiplied abundantly. Remembering who I am, today I give from the beauty of the beauty that I am. And from our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes, we are all thinking, willing, knowing, conscious centers of life. We are surrounded by, immersed in, and there is flowing through us a creative something. Call it what you will.
Today we are lucky. We do have our brilliant speaker, Reverend Lauren Martin. She would prefer not to be called brilliant, but we can't lie about it, so she's brilliant. She works with the education department at Centers for Spiritual Living to create the study guides for the spiritual living circles and is the new chairperson of the Global Heart of Peace. Anybody here tried the spiritual living circles? It's, I'm not sure, maybe she'll enlighten us how you get signed up for those, but you meet with other like-minded people virtually to discuss what's written in the daily guides and the magazine on a monthly basis. And she puts together the curriculum for that, which I tried to help her one month. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's not easy to do. Lauren's passion is in helping people move through trauma by remembering who they are so they can live a truly authentic, joy-filled life. And if you listen long to Lauren, you'll get that laugh that she will give you over and over again, and you could tell that she really does live that same joy-filled life herself. On my personal note, since I didn't get to introduce her the first time she was here a couple months ago, I'm not sure I would have made it through ministerial training if it wasn't for Lauren. Every time I felt like quitting, I'd call Lauren, and she'd say, "You can't quit." I'd say, "But I'm not a writer." "Well, I don't know, I read what you wrote, and it seems pretty good to me. Would you just quit it and get on with it?" So, again, she was the best coach I could have had all the way through, and I appreciate her so very much. So, please welcome Lauren Martin.
Okay, well, I'm going to try not to have colorful language at least, but I am definitely colorful. So, when Denise asked me about June, she gave me two options, and I looked at the two options. I'm like, oh, yeah, I need to do the color one because I have purple hair. And then yesterday, I was talking to her, and I said, okay, so I'm thinking of wearing the dress I wore to your graduation. And she's like, sure, that's fine. I'm like, it has skulls on it. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, okay, because I wanted to be very colorful today. And this is the most colorful outfit I own. Most of the time I don't do that, but I figured go for it, because this is really who I am. I am definitely the split brain type person, I think is probably the best way to put it. So there's the part of me that has the rainbow of stuffed animals and toys, and then the part of me that has the lovely goth kitchen with all of the skulls. So, you know, colorful is probably a good adjective. One of the things that I don't know if you guys all know about me is I'm an artist. So I love color. Color is like one of my favorite things. I get very uptight about it when people use the wrong words for it. That's my little, like, you know, I have those pet peeves. That's one of my pet peeves. But I loved the idea about talking about color because color and humans, that's a lot alike. And the interrelationship between colors, to me, is a lot alike our interrelationships between each other. So I was thinking about that when I was putting together my talk, and I was remembering my friend bought a couch, and he was so excited about his couch. And he really wanted me to love his couch. That was really important to him. Problem is, he does not understand color theory. So I walk into his apartment. He's got a wall that is burnt orange. Yeah, not a great color anyway to begin with, but still. He then proceeds to buy a slate gray couch. I immediately got a headache when I looked at it. And he's like, "Don't you love my couch? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it perfect?" I don't keep my mouth shut very well. I'm like, "Yeah, it's comfortable. It's a nice couch." And he's like, "What's the problem?" And I'm like, "The color discord. Cool, hot, no." And he's like, I'm like literally getting a headache standing here, dear. And I love you, but I'm getting a headache. And it reminds me a lot that there's people in our life that the colors just don't match. They don't mesh. And that's okay. They're just their own color. It's burnt orange and cool gray, you know? The funny thing is, he called me the next day and he said, "Thanks a lot. I have to paint my wall. When are you coming over to paint my wall?" And I'm like, "Sorry, I struggle with this, you know, not my mouth shut when I should." Anyway, surprising that a minister talks. Never happens. So anyway, the other thing I was thinking about with the color theory is like, okay, we have the discord, right? But then we have complementary colors. Now, complementary colors don't look like they should go together. But without complementary colors, we wouldn't have Christmas. We wouldn't have the Broncos colors. So, you know, Colorado would be kind of messed up. And I think the Nuggets even are in that kind of realm of the complementary colors too. So it's one of those things where we seem to like the complementary colors. So any of you who don't know this, complementary colors are across each other on the color wheel. So it's the red and the green and the blue and the orange. But that's like our opposites attract. Those are the relationships that we have where it shouldn't work. We shouldn't work together, but we're best of friends. Me and one of my besties is like that. She's completely different than me. She calls me a diva because I insist on, you know, strange things like bringing multiple bathing suits on a trip with me to Costa Rica. Okay. I don't think that makes me a diva. Of all the things that make me a diva, that's not it. But, so that's a good example of things that work out. The other thing that we have is hues and shades and different values. So you and all your friends might be purple, but one of you is going to be lilac, one of you is going to be lavender, and one of you is going to be eggplant. They're all purples, and they're all similar, so they get along really well, but they're all different shades. So some of us are pastels. Some of us are bright, vibrant, vivid, obnoxious, loud colors. We know who we are. The thing is, this world likes to make us think that we need to be black and white. And I hate to tell you all this. There is very little in this world that's actually black and white. There is so many spectrums, there are so many shades, and they're all needed. And they're all valuable, and they all support each other, and they all accent each other, and they all are there for a reason. So, in a sea of a bazillion possibilities of color, how do you become your own color and really shine as vibrantly as you can at whatever shade you are? So, my encouragement is we are going to be bold. And what I mean by being bold is we're going to start out by being brave. Now, I picked this image because there's like this theory out there that if you stand in like a Wonder Woman pose, it really helps your confidence before you do anything. I've always felt like I was an idiot when I did that, and I never felt comfortable in it, so I've never been able to do it. But I've heard that that's really good. So I was like, I'm going to take her energy, and I'm just going to think with her energy for this talk today. Because for a lot of us, being that individual color that doesn't match the rest of the crayons in the box can be a challenge. It's in a world with so many influences, it's really easy to be like, okay, I know that I need to go to school, get a degree, get a job, get a husband, get a house, do all of these things that society says are the way that we're supposed to be. And a lot of us do this, and a lot of us are very successful at doing this. Yet a lot of us aren't happy. And I think the reason we're not happy is because we're a purple crayon trying to be a blue crayon. And we can't be that. One of the things that I think we do is we forget who we are at our soul. We forget what that color is. We forget who we are. I will tell you some of the bravest things you will ever do in your life. You do them because you remember who you are. When I was in an abusive relationship, I stayed way longer than I should have. And I had this conversation with somebody on Tuesday. She asked me why people stay in abusive relationships. I'm like, well, if you want the answer, I will actually give it to you, and I will go a whole lecture about that because I can. I can answer that question. And she's like, well, what made you stay? What made you leave? She's like, well, you must have left when this happened. I'm like, no. What about when this happened? Nope. When this happened? Nope. So why did you leave? Because I started to remember who I was. So the entire time that I was with this person, I forgot who I was. I became an extension of him. And as long as I was an extension of him, his needs mattered. His wants mattered. What he wanted and how he needed to be taken care of, how he needed to be listened to or heard or seen was important. I was a shadow. And I started questioning because I started having thoughts I didn't like in my head. And they weren't my thoughts. They were thoughts that I didn't feel like the me that I knew I was would say. So I decided to kind of think about that a little bit. And I started to ask, well, who am I supposed to be? Who am I? Because who I am wouldn't be thinking this. You know, I literally got to the point where I was thinking I wished he would die. That's not me. That is not me at all. I would never act on that. But I had that thought, and I didn't like it. So I started remembering who I was. And eventually I left. And then I decided to overcorrect, go to the other end of the spectrum, because, you know, I was a shadow, I was nothing, so now I'm going to be really bright neon purple over here. And that wasn't me either. So the way I healed was I realized who I was. And I show up as I am, no matter what. Now, there is part of me that does this because I'm very pragmatic. And I don't want to remember who I told what to. So it's a whole lot easier for me to just be consistent. But this caused problems at work because, you know, oversharing, I have no filter. I had to install one of those things. One of my friends made me install one of those. It was a good idea, but, you know, being a minister with no filter probably would have been a bad thing too. So we installed the filter, but I'm still me. And I still show up as me everywhere. We're doing a thing at work where the Somos Employee Resource Group is giving us a free membership to Duolingo so that we can learn Spanish. And we did day camp this last week. And we were supposed to paint a painting. And I didn't like the options. I was really hopeful. I was like, oh, good, we're going to do a Spanish theme or a Mexican theme or something fun. They came up with like a cactus and some birds. And I'm like, okay, both of those are really boring. I understand that they're really simple because they're thinking that people can't paint, so they're going to do something simple in a short amount of time. I couldn't do that. It was not working. I needed a sugar skull. And so when we're starting to show our paintings of what we're doing, and I showed mine to the class, the head of Somos was like, oh, so now we get to learn who knows how to follow directions. So my response was, how do you say rebel child in Spanish? Because that's me. I don't want to be what everybody else is. I've tried that. I'm not good at it. I don't fit in that box. And I think all of us don't. And that's what makes us beautiful. We were made perfectly the way we are. by God. We are the individual representation of God. So how can we be wrong? If we don't think the way somebody else thinks, it's okay. If we don't act the way somebody else thinks, it's okay. If we want to be really bright and colorful like a peacock, that's okay. If we want to wear khaki and gray and be blah, that's okay. It's whatever works for you and what makes you feel the most brave, the most confident, the most secure, and the most you. Because that's the most important part, is to be authentic. So in order to do this, we also need to obliterate opinions. Now, I really want you to embody this image. I want you to take this in. I want you to really bring that into the core of your soul. And I know that we are not allowed in society to stick our tongues out at people when they offer their opinion that we don't want. Yet, we can think about this cat in our head. And we can just sit there and go, I'm sticking my tongue out. Or you can do what I do, which is like, I might be doing something to my head that you wouldn't like. So those are the kind of things that I want you to think about when opinions come up. Because we all know everybody has opinions. People want to help us. They want us to be, successful. They want us to be happy. They want us to be joy-filled. But if we start following everybody else's opinions, the other thing that happens to us is we lose sight of ourselves again. We become who they are. Okay, this next part is even harder, but it's more important. Okay, because I think all of us can ignore other people's opinions. At least if they're not too close to us, we can kind of shove them aside. I want you to ignore your own opinions. I want you to obliterate your own opinions. Because we lie to ourselves a lot. And I don't mean the positive lies that pump you up and make you think that you look cute in that little miniskirt when you shouldn't have worn miniskirts for like 30 years. Not that opinion. The opinions that are needing blocking are the ones that limit you, are the ones that tell you that you need to be small, that you need to hide, that you need to be gray instead of bright red. And that's hard, because I'm the first one to say that I believe that we need the equivalent of Alcoholics Anonymous for people who are negative thinkers, because it's an addiction. And it's an addiction you cannot walk away from. It's in you, it is part of you, it is who you are, and you are with it 24/7. And that's not fun, and it can be hard, and it can be challenging when you're trying to face doing new things. So I went to a concert on Friday night, and this was a concert that when it came up, I pinged my friend and I'm like, okay, my inner child wants to go to New Kids on the Block, and she's like, okay. 30 minutes later, she had 5 other women lined up, so we were going to be a group of women going to a concert, okay? Like, I had no idea this was going to happen. Like, it was just like a fleeting idea of like, I just want to go play and pretend it's the 80s for a minute. So we went out together. Now, I don't hang out with women in groups because of my own little head trash. And so this was very weird for me. Usually when I go to concerts, I go with her and her husband, my friend and her husband. I'm used to hanging out with men and women together, so like, it's more of like a group, and I feel more comfortable. My little head goes to, ooh, I'm the token fat friend. I was just like, oh, that was really nice of you. That's a great opinion of yourself. That's not helpful. And I'm sitting there thinking about that, and I realized that in this moment, I completely missed this. Love yourself exactly as you are. Yeah, that's not always fun. And here's the thing. You are perfect the way you are, flaws and all, okay? Nobody ever successfully makes a change in their life by starting from I hate myself. If that worked, then there'd be no therapists, there'd probably be no alcohol, there'd probably be no drugs, there'd probably be none of the stuff that we all go to when there'd be no shopping, which would kill me. Like, literally, what would I do if I wasn't, in stuffed animals in my office? I don't know. But here's the thing. When you lose your train of thought, you just breathe. See, I'm always me. Doesn't matter where I go, I'm always me. So this is a hard thing for me to say, so that's why it didn't come to me. That little nasty part of my brain, the critic in the back of my head, she's like, I'm not letting this out. So what I realized is, if I want to do something about my weight, I can't start from, I'm fat and it's bad. I can start from, well, this is my body. This is my body that got me this far. What does my body do for me? Well, I can still get up and walk. I can dance at a concert. I can, even though it was hard, I did make it up and down the stairs going over from Elitch's to the ball stadium. I was able to do that with my asthma. So I can sit there and say, I am grateful for the things this body can do. I can start with gratitude for the health in the body that can lead me to the loving the body, that can lead me to changing the body. Because I really want everybody to take this really deeply, okay? Because you want to change something does not mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means you want something different. That's all. And we are always at choice. There is a shadow self in every single one of us. We all have something we don't like that lives in our brain and is part of who we are. I would love to encourage you to remember that if you shine a flashlight in the middle of the day in the noon sun, you're not really going to see the light. You take that same flashlight, middle of the dark, middle of a forest, there's no stars, nothing. You shine that light, and it is bright. It'll be the brightest thing you see for miles. Your light needs your dark. It's there for a reason. It isn't to be eliminated. It isn't to be looked down on. There is beauty in darkness. And when we can sit with our shadows and see ourselves fully and completely, we are opening ourselves to becoming authentic and fully ourselves. Here's another word I'd like everybody to try to eliminate from your vocabulary. I'd like everybody to, I don't know, for 30 days, try not to use the word mistake. A lot of us get really tied up on, I did the wrong thing. I made a mistake. This is wrong. This is bad. What if it's just a choice? What if it's just a decision that you made? Then, now, without all of the angst and judgment around that decision, you can start to learn. So, if I'm sitting there saying, wow, I just made this huge mistake, I can't believe I did that, I'm an idiot, go down that rabbit hole. It's not going to help, right? It doesn't get anyone anywhere. So, what if, instead of that, I said, well, that was a choice I made. Why did I do that? I've made that choice 5 other times. You'd think I'd learn by now, but, hard head, really, really hard head. I need a good-sized 2x4 every once in a while. I'm sure some of us probably relate to that one. So the problem is, because I spent all the time saying I made a mistake, I went into my opinion of myself. I went into my negative thoughts, and I stayed out of the curiosity mind. The curious mind allows me to say, well, I made that choice, and the last 5 times it was the same result. Okay, so why did I make that choice? And this is the result that's happening. What if I made this choice? And then I get to learn, grow, and I get to evolve into more of myself. Because I promise you, you're not evolving into something other than you. When you evolve, you are getting more in touch with your soul, with your essence, with your truth, and you are becoming more you. And it's going to be a lot easier to love yourself when your head, your heart, and your soul are all in alignment, because you won't have all the bickering going on between them. And you won't have the internal fight trying to fight the external fights and listening to everything that's going on. So once we can get all those together, then we realize that we're on a right track and we're figuring out who we are. So once we figure out who we are, you get to decide for yourself. So what I mean by this is, if you want to be a zebra-striped elephant, yeah, that's what you get to be. Only you know who you are. And we have a world right now where lots of people are trying to have labels. And they're trying to explain who they are through labels. And they're trying to show up as they are through labels. And that works for some people. Some people love a box. They find comfort in something that will surround them, keep them safe, keep them comfortable where they are. Then we have people who nuke the box and completely destroy the box and don't know what time zone they left the box in. And those are my people. Because, I don't know about you, but when I get the question of like, tell me about yourself and who are you, I am like, can I call a friend? Like, is there a helpline I can go to like define me? Because I struggle with defining myself. I'm not one of the box people. I never have been. When I was a kid, I remember being in kindergarten, and I was called weird all the time. And I was like, okay, there's a couple things I can do with this. I can get really, really bent out of shape. And I did for a very long time. And then I thought about what the word weird means. And by the way, I recently looked this up because I wanted to talk about this, and I'm like, I really want to make sure I know what it says. And the definition, the first definition on Google, definitely was exactly what I was expecting. The second one, though, was archaic Scottish word meaning destiny. I'm like, yay, I'm destined to be different, woohoo! So I loved that. I ran with that one. I was like, this is cool. I have a destiny of difference. But I decided to reclaim the word weird for myself when I was a kid. Because I was like, all right, you want to tell me I'm weird? Fine, I'm weird. I don't care. I like being weird. I like being different. I like the bright colors. I like the dichotomies. I've been called a walking juxtaposition before. I'm like, yeah, cool. I don't have to make sense to you. I make sense to me. And that's all that I need to do. Now, that sounds a lot more confident than I usually feel inside, just so you know. But that is where I want everyone to get to, is that we can take words that have been weaponized against us and reclaim their power. Because when we let other people decide what the words mean, we give them our power. And if they're people who don't have your best intention in mind, you don't know very well, you don't want to spend time with, you don't care about their opinion, they have not lived the perfect life that you want to live and are not showing you exactly how to be, then giving them your power is really dangerous. And I don't mean this in like a, okay, I am completely a powerless person here. I'm just saying that when you start buying into everything else everybody else thinking over what you're thinking, you're not empowering yourself. And by empowering yourself, words don't hurt. They don't have to take you down to the dark rabbit holes. So weird is not a big deal. Now, be prepared, because I've had to do this many times, that if you are going to change the meaning of a word, you are going to have a lot of people who are going to ask you a lot of questions. Like when I say I'm weird, people are like, oh, don't say that about you. That's not very nice. Why not? I'm different. I'm cool with that. Well, how are you different? Once again, can I call a friend? Because I've lived with this my whole life, so to me it's not different. I just know that people have told me that I'm different. Okay, well, you know, you shouldn't be listening to other people's judgment of you and what you're doing. Yeah, no, I'm owning the word. I gave it power. I gave it what it needed. And I'm okay with it. The other thing that I really want to encourage people to understand is that we need each person to show up exactly how they are. So if you need labels, if you need to be in a box, if that's where you're comfortable, then everybody else who doesn't need labels and doesn't need the box, honor them. And vice versa. If you're in a box, honor those who don't need a box. This does not mean you have to agree with them, change their mind, try to get them to do anything they're not comfortable with. It just means I see you, I see the God in you, I see the value in you. Because I do not know how many times people have tried to convince me of something. If it's in my head, it's not going anywhere. So, by that I mean, it's like the lovely conversations we have with our friends, like, I'm a Mets fan, but I'm a Rockies fan. How many Rockies fans are you going to switch over to being Mets fans just by saying something about the Mets? You're not. Okay? You're not going to change people who have very strong, founded beliefs in who they are just by saying this group is better, this way is better. I'm not comfortable with your way, you're not comfortable with my way. It's okay. It just is. Because we all have different brains. Some of us have spicy brains. Some of us have not so spicy brains. Some of us have the ability to make sure that we are, you know, fitting in. Some of us don't want to fit in. But I can tell you this. Every single person on the planet has their insecurities, has their doubts, has their uncertainties. And nothing is going to go bad if you practice being bold. Okay? The people who love you will love you no matter what. The people who don't love you most likely will not start loving you just because you change a little bit. So it doesn't matter. Be your color, whatever that color is. It's lovely to see a whole beautiful rainbow. It is so nice that we aren't stuck in a gray world. Do you guys remember the old black and white movies, what they were like? And I always thought about that, and I'm like, that's really painful. And I saw this reel the other day where somebody asked, and this is so absurdly insane, I am hoping it was a joke. They thought the world became in color when TV became in color. And that made me think about this. It's like, well, could you imagine if we were all black and white and gray? But even in black and white, how many shades were there? Like, you would not be able to tell the difference between a person and a tree if there weren't different shades. It's necessary for this world to be what it is, for us all to embrace our shades, to embrace our brightness, to embrace our light, to embrace our dark, and to be who we are meant to be. Because I promise you, and I say this all the time, and I'm sure you're all sick of hearing this, but God doesn't make mistakes. God put you here this way, in this body, at this time, as this person, for a reason. Somebody else on this planet needs you, exactly how you are. They need you to be your emotional, messy self. They need you to be your well put together and proper self. They need you to be all yourselves. They need you to be you. This world isn't going to be the same without all the bright, vivid colors. So we get to practice being bold. We get to practice thinking about all the colors and how we want to show up. And honestly, if you are today feeling that you're a little lavender and you'd rather be eggplant, turn up the volume. That's all it is. If you're feeling a little pale and you just want a little bit more brightness, let the world see it, because I promise you it's beautiful. I promise you somebody needs it. And you may never know who actually needs that color, but I promise you, you are the perfect color for somebody out there and for this world right now. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of moment and take a deep breath and have a nice prayer. So as we breathe into this moment, into this space, and knowing where we are, who we are, we know that we are connected. We are all one. There is no space. There is no time. There is no anywhere God is not. We are all that God. We are all that presence. And we show up in such a beautiful array, such a vibrant display, such an amazing spectrum, that we show the world who we are each and every day. And we breathe into the truth of ourselves, and we let that expand, and we let it show, and we let it shine, and we let it grow to the point where no one can stop us. Our dreams are ours. Our lives are ours. Our passions are ours. We are who we are meant to be. And oh wow, isn't that amazing? Isn't there so much gratitude to feel at the core of your being, knowing that you are you, and that is perfect, and that is whole, and that is complete. So much gratitude for the ability to be exactly who we are in this moment, no matter what that looks like. And so I know that as we release these words, they are true. They are done. They are perfectly unfolding exactly how they need to be. And so it is.
Healed, whole, well, colorful, who we are. Well, there is a song in my soul, sings I am whole. Everywhere I go, you know it sings I'm whole. There's a song in my soul, sings I am whole. Everywhere I go, you know it sings I'm whole. I am whole. I'm whole. Whole. I am whole. Whole. I am whole. Whole. I am whole. There is a song in my soul, sings I am healed. We take a breath and know we all are healed. There is a song in my soul, sings we are healed. We
take a breath and know that we are healed. We are healed. We are healed. Healed. We are healed. Healed. We are healed. Healed. We are healed. There is a song in our hearts, sings we are loved. There's a whisper in your ear and mine, you are loved. There is a song in our hearts, sings we are loved. Whispers in your ear, you are loved. You are loved. Loved. You are loved for just who you are. Loved. There is a song in our souls, knows we are joy everywhere we go. Knows of joy, songs in our souls, knows we are joy everywhere we go.